playing. Let me talk to Kevin Stefanski really quick. We're not gonna waste no time on this one. Kev, come on, let me talk to you. Come on, step into my office. Now let me talk to you real quick, Kev. I'm starting to sense some things going wrong here. Sometimes in life, control is a good thing, but control could be a bad thing. Because sometimes keeping control for the sake of having control does not put your football team or you in the best situation that it would be in. Right now, I'm looking at this offense, and for the most part, the offense looks like the offense in varying degrees. When you go back and watch Baker Mayfield, some of the limitations that Baker Mayfield had, where you used a lot of bootlegs, there was a lot of play action stuff with Chubb, but everything looked constricted. Everything was within a 5 to 10 yard radius. Even when you had Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, the playbook never significantly changed. Some would argue that the playbook was vanilla. It was more based on play action, and you had a hard time getting people the football who you thought should have the football. Now, mind you, back then, you had a prime Kareem Hunt, a prime Chubb, a prime Odell, and a prime Jarvis Landry. And some of the complaints were you didn't know how to get them the football. Fast forward a couple of years, you had Baker go in and out of the lineup, and you found ways to win games with Jacoby Brissett, Case Keenum, DTR, PJ Walker, Joe Flacco. And for the most part, the offense was what it was under Baker. And you found a way to run the ball, play action, come up with some gadget plays here or there. But for the most part, the offense was more of a run-predicated offense, dink and dunk, and try to figure out whether or not you can match some guys up and get some chunk plays where you could. Fast forward, you wanted to come in and change things up with Alex Van Pelt. And I never quite understood it, Kevin, because Alex Van Pelt never called the plays. As a matter of fact, I've always been a proponent of this. One band, one sound. And I don't think you can coordinate anything without any sort of authority. I'll give you a case in point. When I started off in this business, and I was in corporate America, and I started having my first direct hires and direct individuals, and started managing people. One of the first things they had me do was I actually had to start hiring people. And, when you hire people, you come up with the questions and HR gives them to you, and you would sit down and we would hire candidates. Now, we started sitting in different players, and we'd have a pair of people interviewing a candidate. And based on those skills and qualifications, they would then hire an individual to come work for us individually in 2 different departments. Well, it started to show that the candidates that I would pick seemed to be with the company a little longer. They seemed to transition a little better, seemed to be a more, higher functioning type individuals. Those individuals stayed longer with the company. They seemed to catch on quicker. And in an industry where there's a lot of turnover in the area that we were in, that was very valuable. So what did they start doing? They started saying, okay, G. Bush, you can interview, but you're not going to actually get to manage the person. You're going to interview for this position, and then we're going to ship that person off to somewhere else in another department. I said, well, isn't that funny? Because why would I be punished for that? They said, oh, it's about the overall structure. I said, okay, I get it. We can't have too many great people in your department. I said, okay, I get it, understand. So we continue on. And pretty soon I started developing better. And they said, I'm developing all these good associates. They're the top performers. At a point in time, I had 8 or 9 of the top best performers in our department. And it came a point where they're like, hey, we got a new team leader. How's about we move that a couple of your top performers to the new team leader? We want to get them off to a nice little start. Nice runway. I said, well, listen, it took me years to develop these people. I had to get a chance to understand how they work best, to do a lot of coaching, to do a lot of, brushing up on some of the coaching opportunities that we had. And now they're comfortable and settled and productive. Now we're going to move them to another department for a team leader that's not even proven? How do you know they're going to even? Okay, we'll move them off. And then what I started to realize as a team leader, it's quite difficult to manage a team. And it's quite difficult to manage the guys that you have in your unit that you're responsible for if you don't have any say-so in their development. You don't have any say-so in where they go. I don't have any say-so in if I pick a great candidate, hey, I want them to be on my team. I don't have a say-so for that. Hey, I develop the people that, I want to keep them on my team so my team is more productive. I don't have a say in that. So what happens is I'm starting to say to myself, well, how is it that I'm being held accountable for turnover? I'm being held accountable for quality scores. I'm being held accountable for production, but yet and still I don't have the correct in the tools in my belt to say that I'm actively shaping the direction of the people that's underneath, but I'm being held accountable for it. So, Kevin, I got a question. Alex Van Pelt is no longer here, right? Because you said you wanted to move to a specific type of offense, which says that you have a blind spot for said offense because you had to go outside to find that talent, right? So why is it, Kevin, you get rid of Alex Van Pelt? He didn't call the plays. You called the plays. So now we got Dorsey, and you're still calling the plays. But how are you calling the plays that somebody else is cooked up? How are you deciding what's the best mix of run and pass when it's his offense? It's his innovation, it's his thought, it's his imagination on what this offense, the identity and the core of what the offense is with him. But yet still you call the plays. I don't understand it. And here's the thing, I don't have to understand it. You're the head coach, right? You make the final decision, kind of like my superiors made the final decision where people went and how we allocated higher thought process, right? But I don't have a problem when it works. But when it doesn't work, I got to start looking. Because evidently it didn't work once with Alex Van Pelt. Evidently, there's a miscommunication in ideology with what's going on with you and Ken Dorsey. And you got away with calling the plays and saying you're going to do that and you're going to take control of that because you was the coach of the year. But let me tell you something, Kevin, them coaches of the years is wearing out very fast. It's wearing off very fast because we're not hitting production. And not only is the passing game that you tried to establish and want to move towards not looking good, but what you did best back in the day, which was play action and running the ball, that don't look so good either. As a matter of fact, it's one of the worst in the league. So I need to understand something moving forward. And this is what you need to consider. Either it's the offense or it's you. Maybe have you considered you're just not as good as you thought you were at what you like doing. And just because we like doing something don't mean we can make a living at it. So lots of people out there that want to be swimsuit models. They're wearing one pieces, not two pieces. This is not one, but two coordinators where you've operated and you've done and where it's a collaborative effort, or maybe is it just you? Because the offense always looks like it's kind of in a phone booth and lack explosiveness. So listen, we're going to be watching. And maybe, just maybe, if you did give up coaching, if you did give up play calling, maybe you could watch the other things across the spectrum, kind of like, penalties, maybe your strength and conditioning program, maybe trying to figure out what's the best program to get your team ready in the offseason in terms of whether they're going to play in training camp, the preseason schedule. Oh, and by the way, you can do other things in the organization that prove you're a good coach besides calling the plays. Don't let calling the plays be something that holds you back, Kev. You're better than that.